It being 2 o'clock, I convene the December 13th, 2021 Advocacy and Outreach Committee meeting to order. And Chris, would you please call the roll?
Margaret Rotelli.
Here.
Liz Sullivan.
Here.
Orna Turner.
Here.
Sarah Wynn.
Here.
Beth McQuillan.
Here.
Tatiana Weinstein.
Here.
Okay, agenda item number 2 is the visitor's opportunity to speak. And since there are no visitors, we'll go on to agenda number 3, and it's to approve the minutes of the October 22nd AOC committee meeting. And may I have a motion and a second, please?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for October 22nd, 2020,
I
2021.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, is there any discussion?
No.
Okay, Chris, roll call, please.
Orna Turner.
Aye.
Sarah Wynn.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Margaret Rotelli.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item number 4 is talking about our fundraising effort and the draft letter for, special feature installation. Okay, I thought that you meant that the draft letter was the special feature. Okay, I read it wrong. So, do you want to kick that off?
Oh, sure. So in the packet, there is a draft letter, and it's addressed to XYZ organization. And I spoke with Chairwoman Sullivan about some of the inclusions in this letter. But this is up for discussion and up for editing, so this is not obviously in stone. This is just to kind of kickstart some conversation on what we would like to present as a letter. And obviously, because some of the letters will go to organizations, businesses, and individual persons, we may tailor this a little bit for each recipient. So in the letter, it just talks about the renovation and that, we have a quote unquote sober budget and that this particular feature was not included as part of the renovation plans because it is at a higher expense. It talks about that some museums and larger libraries have this unique product, and it explains that it is a Lightzilla and that it provides inclusive enjoyment for all users. It talks about STEAM applications, and it talks about its size, its cost, and then what I've provided is some donation amounts and ranges, and we can talk about, do we think these are appropriate? Do we want to do something different with them? And then it does mention that donations would be publicly recognized. How we do that is still up for discussion. And then it gives you a couple of photographs of the installation product and 2 areas for signatures. And all of this, again, up for discussion, editable, and all of that. So have at it.
I just had, I think this is great. I would just have us consider in the first paragraph, second sentence, changing the word objective to make it plural. Objectives are instead of objective is. And then the other thing, and I think you and I, Lorna, had talked about this. I imagine we are going to get so many donations, we are not going to know what to do with them, okay? We've got a very exciting and wonderful thing to gather donations for. So, do we want to consider putting some verbiage in the letter that says, I don't know, Tatiana, you and I talked about this.
Yes. So I think I did that very, softly.
Okay.
In the sentence that says all donations will be publicly recognized and will contribute to the Lightzilla installation / youth services department. So if we were to have gone above and beyond, it still will contribute to the youth services department. And I think this does encapsulate, what we receive and how it will be used. and we can be a little more blunt about it, but I think this says that all donations will contribute to the youth services department. And I think that's who we want to target, is people who want to enhance the department. And primarily for the installation, but, you know, again, if it went above and beyond, it would still contribute to departmental enhancements, improvements, and things like that.
So I view this as sort of a two-pronged approach. First, we go after the corporate people. Those that have, and I sent that picture of you. I was at the DuPage Children's Museum about a month ago, and there were a number. They had a whole board there of people that had corporations that are donating. One of which is Dover, and they're in Downers Grove. So, I guess my recommendation would be we go after the corporate donations first, and if we come up short, then we go to the family, the individual contributions. Only because.
Is that your question?
That's like the second question.
Yeah, okay, so right now, is the subject about how we're going to publicly recognize?
Actually, that would be 2A and 2B. Okay, the
Okay.
first question I think is, if we collect more than $15,000
Mm-hmm.
and somebody is giving us some additional money,
Okay, I got it now.
you know, how do we make sure that in the letter, they know we're gonna use it towards youth services so that, you know, they realize we might collect more than 15,000, but we're gonna continue to put it towards youth services, even if it goes beyond the 15,000.
And my point is, like, we may find that we have corporate donors that will finance the entire amount. So we don't have to necessarily reach out to our patrons at this point in time. Perhaps in the future, we'll reach out to them for another project. Because I don't know how many times you can go to a well, like to Dover Corporation, keep going to their foundation and getting grants. So my experience has been generally, you know, that these corporations are pretty generous, and we may get it all financed through corporate.
Right.
And I think when you go to the patrons, you're gonna get some grumbling. What are they coming to us for when we pay taxes and everything to the whole library district? And I'd like to avoid that at all costs.
Like, okay, I'm going out and I'm talking to Molex, and we get a grant for 15 grand. Okay? Same day, I'm getting a second grant, and that grant is for 2 grand. But I've already sent the letter to 5 other companies, and they're each gonna give me 2 grand. I don't wanna have to go back to those other companies and say, you know what, I'm gonna change my letter and send you a different letter now. So I want the letter to be all encompassing, so we can, in good faith, somehow in the letter, make sure that we're telling them, if we've already gathered enough money for this particular project, it's gonna go to youth services. So I guess the question is, are we comfortable that this letter, and you two are the ladies signing it, so I want you to weigh in on this, are we comfortable that this letter says, you know, it'll be for the Lightzilla, or to go to youth services? Is this letter saying both of those things, and are we okay with it?
I think it says, I think it takes care of that concern.
Okay.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate to Lorna's position on going to corporate first, because there might be some families in Lisle who want to contribute to this and want their name on just this, you know what I'm saying? So I think casting a wider net for all people we target for this particular project it might, I would think that some families or some businesses might want to contribute to this, and receive recognition.
Yeah.
So
what is the recognition? I mean, obviously at DuPage Children's Museum, there's a wall there with everybody and I think you said at the last meeting, you want to stay away from that. You want to stay away from having Dover Corporate. I'm just going to use Dover because I know I've worked with the company. having Dover Corporation finance this whole thing. I thought you said you wanted to stay away from that.
What I wanted to stay away from is one large sign that says McDonald's Library.
Okay.
But
okay.
I am absolutely behind having a plaque or something of that
Okay.
nature that states, the XYZ family donated to the Lisle, and so did McDonald's, and so did da-da-da-da. How we do that is still up for discussion. So, what do you think, Marjorie?
Well, first of all, have we solicited corporations in the past from the library for donations?
We haven't fundraised for.
To my knowledge, I have
No.
not seen anything like that. So this is new. And just as a devil's advocate, I prefer more the the family donations and so on before corporate. That's just my opinion. It's not to say we don't want or need corporate donations. So that's one thing. But then also, I do think, are there other projects? Let's just say this is so hugely successful that we get 15,000 right off the bat. Are there other projects that we would like to do that we had to pull back on? I mean, I know the meeting room, how we were going to do the wall and so on and so forth. That doesn't have the attractiveness
Yeah.
as Lightzilla,
It-
but still in all,
too.
it's it's a nice but not necessary kind of thing as far as what we had to cut. So do you want to
So I love the enthusiasm that we may receive a lot of money, and that's great. We could put in here with the same sentence, Lightzilla installation, comma, youth services department, and library renovation as kind of a catch-all, if we went above and beyond the target, if that's a concern.
My thought in going corporate first is that it'd be a lot less work for us.
No,
You might get one
you're right.
corporation
You're right.
that gives you the 15, or 3 corporations that give you 5,000, and we're done. You don't have to continue to kind of put it out in the newsletter or have a barrel in the front that you're dropping money
Sure.
in or whatever it is. So it's just being lazy here. I mean, that would be nice to get one fell swoop and just have it
Do
done.
we know the last time that the community, any of the other government bodies have solicited other than the
Discovery Garden.
park discovery?
Well, right now, the Park District, I'm so sorry, Tom Duffy left our board because he just raised he has a check on Facebook he's holding for 10 grand that he fundraised for the Park District because they used to have outside exercise equipment. And as you walk through the trails, the
Right.
paths, you used to be able to hop on and do something. Well, he worked with a team and they just got this check for 10 grand from a company.
And what are they doing with it? Replacing this equipment?
The equipment has been taken out because it's broken over time.
Okay.
I just want a quick correction. I think the project cost 10,000, and I think the check was for 2 or 3 from this corporation. And he's
Oh,
been
okay.
yeah. But it's they've done a great job in terms
Right.
of fundraising for it. Yeah.
So there is, I can't remember who the company was, but there is fundraising going on. I don't know.
Not that matters. I'm just curious because you don't want to barrage people with, especially this time of year.
I think this is the time of the year.
This
though,
is the time.
They-
Okay.
because
Yeah.
people
Year-end
want to
budgets,
give.
yeah, they
Oh,
definitely,
okay.
they budgeted so much and they want to use up their budget.
Okay, great.
Either they've used it all up already and you gotta wait till next year, or they've got
Gotcha.
a bunch they wanna get rid of.
But and also people want. I mean, I think the holiday season is the time for giving from all levels, and I think
Mhm.
people, I know I give to charitable organizations during this time of the year too.
Mhm.
So I think from all levels, corporate down to individuals.
Well, there seem to be so many different things in our community surveys and comments we've heard about what people want, that we can't do everything. I think it's really important to hit on youth services because that was the key. to me that most people wanted to see the improvements on. So if we could tie in, I like this sentence. I guess somewhere down the road, the publicly recognized, we'll have to determine how that's gonna flow. We don't have to worry about that right now.
But should we add the word renovation just in case? Is that, because that was a concern that we would go above and beyond? And how she
I
uses
don't
those
know.
funds?
I don't know if we add renovation, they might be like, well, I thought they got this much. I don't know. Just thinking of
Yeah.
like maybe just keep it as the installation and the youth services department. That's just my opinion.
And honestly, if we go above and beyond, it like, I mean, I'm not sure. It depends on how we target donations because if we target it strategically, I think we can probably get it to where we have what we need to purchase. But if we go above and beyond, youth services department, we could enhance it in many ways through collections, through other digital enhancements. I mean, equipment, things like that. So if we focus on youth services, again, this is a kind of our first venture out in
Right.
terms of fundraising, and I have to go back to, I think there are going to be some families who do want to contribute to something this unique, like they want to see their name, like I want. And I remember hearing Trustee Swistak saying she wants to buy a brick she would love, to have, or she knows families who would like to have their name on something. And this kind of nods to that kind of idea of, I want my family to contribute to this great youth services thing. I'm not saying we wouldn't go out for corporate
Sure.
as well, or larger businesses, but I think hitting many levels is the way to go.
Well, one of the other items that people were very excited about was the outdoor space. And we can't really develop it the way we would love to see it.
The other properties, are you talking about? Or?
No, I mean
The
our
outdoor
space
patio.
here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're doing what I would call basic,
Yes.
but there's so much more we could do with that space.
Yes.
Right? I mean, if we had the money.
Yes, and there's more we can do with a property.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for this committee in the future as well.
So I guess what we need to decide is, are we okay with the verbiage the way it is? All donations will be publicly recognized and will contribute to the Lightzilla installation / youth services department.
I am.
Okay,
We're specific. I mean, you don't want to keep it open-ended. We could use it for anything. And,
okay, that's the only thing I
I
want.
mean, I don't, Sarah, how do you?
No, I like that because if you have it open ended, then you've got people that are like,
Exactly.
well, where else is that
Right.
going?
Right.
Okay. How about other suggestions or?
In the second paragraph, this is just me, the word sober,
Okay. Find another
Conservative,
word.
about conservative budget.
I don't know, I'm not saying, I'm not being critical, it just hits me wrong.
Okay.
But it's fine, I understand the meaning,
Well, we're
definitely.
here to wordsmith, please.
Well, I'm not a wordsmith, only slang, and we don't wanna go there.
I like
Let
the
me-
conservative, like just reading it, like that. That's just it flows.
I like conservative as well.
All right.
Conservative budget.
This is a really well-written,
Yes, it is.
because it actually gives me a sense of anticipation. I want to be a part of this when I'm reading it. There's a special feature coming up, and you know what? This is why you're writing to me, and then you know what? It's kind of exclusive. Museums and some larger libraries have it, and this is how it would apply, and I don't know, it's just a really well-written.
Should the word "and" be capitalized, or should it be a comma? And that's why it's kind of a clause in and of itself, right? So it should be a comma after library and "and" small.
Where?
Small,
Which?
in the second paragraph. When it goes, featuring the youth services department, set the LLD apart from other neighboring libraries, I'm saying comma, and that is why we are writing to you today.
Oh, and then little a, okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
fine.
found another word,
Yes,
sensible
instead of conservative?
instead of sober.
Well, we
I'm
said
not
conservative.
opposed to conservative.
How about sensible and conservative?
I vote just conservative. How about?
Okay, I am not that,
Conservative sounds good.
okay.
How about the ranges and what we wanna call them? Are we comfortable with the ranges? I just kind of threw it out there. I don't know if we're comfortable with those ranges, if you think they're reasonable.
I like the ranges, and I like the fact that you added any amount,
Yeah.
any amount. It could be, $1.
Yeah.
I know this is a little off topic, but wouldn't it be cute to have a little, like, jar in youth services where kids can, like, put in a couple
Oh, if we
pennies
want to do some change.
or a dime
Yeah.
or a nickel and have a picture of this? I just think it gets the community buzz talking about it. It gets them pulling, it gets the parents talking about it.
Mhm.
I just think something like that would be so powerful.
That can go on our list of how we advertise.
Do you need to add anything? I mean, it's understood, of course. If you have questions or want to discuss it further, is that it?
We could definitely, I mean,
I'm
that's.
just throwing it out there. I'm not saying.
Yeah, I mean, we could put something at the bottom that says, please direct any questions to, I'm guessing either me or you, since we're signing this.
Of course, to you.
Okay. And I'll
I'm
just,
not-
maybe my email address
No,
there.
but how does
980
everybody else
Road.
feel about that? Maybe it's not necessary. I mean, I would assume they would do that anyway,
I think anytime you're spot on, anytime you.
and give them a phone
communicate-
number, because that's the kind of information you don't want to dig for.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that at the bottom.
And these pictures, like, really
I like them.
made sense to me. I really wasn't sure what it was gonna look like until I saw those pictures.
Well, I think, have you been to Page Children's Museum, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I think they've got a colored one, and don't they have a white one next to it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, I just focused on the colored one, because that's what my grandchildren were doing, and, they got a kick out of putting those pegs in, but I thought there was a white one next to it.
And does the committee like that there's a self-addressed envelope within whomever we send this to, so it makes it.
Yes.
Make it
I
easy.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a punctuation geek. The LLD would seek donations from organizations like yours, comma, as well as from leaders within our community. That's one of the grammar rules you've ever
Well, that's fine. That's why we're here.
I was a secretary. I started out my career as a secretary, so I
Yes,
got
yes.
Well, because I just had a question I was reading in the third paragraph in the second sentence. It says, there are a few companies that offer. Wouldn't it just be there are few companies? So take out the A?
There
Or
are
is
several, actually,
There are several.
yes.
Perfect.
That brings up how many libraries actually offer this. We would be pretty much on the forefront. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's many
I-
countrywide, but maybe not in our area.
when I toured,
Yeah, I don't-
when I inspected all those libraries, it used to be my job.
We saw one.
And I didn't see any of them in any of the libraries I went to.
Well, we didn't see like Zillow, Liz, but
Ours
we
was
did see
different.
something similar.
Yeah.
Ours
it's-
was tap on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
tap.
Oh,
Like I
it's
said,
lit up.
when there's several, there, giant light bright, because some are push-in, some are tap, some are like the Lightzilla. There are a few versions of this type of installation.
Mhm.
I like to change it, a few to several.
Yes.
And you guys are gonna hand sign this, right? You're not gonna use a stamp or anything?
Right.
Oh.
And we've yet to discuss who they're going to. Before we do that though, if we're done editing,
Any other comments, guys?
I think it's great.
right?
Yeah, really good job.
Thank you. And thank you for your comments, because that makes it better. Because we're having this meeting today, and because today we post the public packet for the board, on the board agenda, there is an action item for the board to vote on this effort. And it's not just on the letter. Because the letter will be honed to whomever we send this to, the board will take a vote on the effort in general, in terms of the fundraising effort. That includes the letter, that includes us advertising on social media, our e-blast, as well as going out for possibly a grant, which we're trying to do. I have Joy working on a small grant to help fund this as well. But we need something in the packet that gives the board a little bit of a heads up on what we're asking. And when this agenda item comes up, you'll probably make a statement. But I'm going to pass this around that we can include in the packet this evening for the public. And it's just a statement.
Does Beth have this, or?
No, she's got it.
You got- okay.
It's just a statement that comes from the chair. Oh, you can give this to Beth too. Sure. Comes from the chair from this
Read from the
meeting
same hymnal.
that I just drafted right now, and it says, members of the Advocacy and Outreach Committee request board approval of a fundraising effort for a special feature installation youth services as discussed during today's meeting and prior. This special light wall installation was not included within the main scope of the renovation due to its expense, and it gives the expense amount. This effort shall include a donation request letter to specific organizations and persons, posting about this special feature on social media and via other means, and seeking any available grant monies to supplement donation efforts. And then Chairwoman Sullivan would sign this would go in the packet, so that the public also knows, has a statement of where we're going. And then this afternoon, I can share with the board via email the letter itself, so they're just aware of the letter. We wouldn't put that in the public packet because it's not going out yet, but once the board votes on it, once we determine who we're sending this to, it would go out after the board meeting this week, just so we can hit the holiday flavor out there.
Mhm.
Does that sound okay? And is this
Yeah,
worded okay?
good idea.
That's fine,
I
it
think
sounds
so.
good.
Okay,
Very good.
great.
Do I sign it today?
Yes.
Or Wednesday?
Today, because that will go in the packet today.
Gotcha.
I have, add one more thing to the letter. A self-addressed envelope is included for your convenience.
Okay. Is that, everybody okay with that?
Perfect.
I have a question about postage.
Yes.
When you get things from, the Humane Society and all of that, where it helps if you put a stamp on, but it has postage paid, do you not get debited unless you use that? How do you buy that postage?
The bulk rate.
The
Yeah,
bulk rate?
It's a bulk rate thing. We have a postage stamp machine at the library, so we would just pay for a regular postage, but we would have to
There's-
go other.
There's no way to put in an envelope, and unless they use it, we don't get debited for it.
We could look into it.
I mean, I don't wanna hold up, we don't wanna hold up the process, but
Or else you could say a self-addressed envelope is included for your convenience, which can be dropped off at the I mean, you can drop it off at the library, you don't have to mail it.
well, that's
It-
true.
It says self-addressed, it doesn't say postage paid.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't say, right.
But I mean,
I'm just trying to even make it easier, but again,
We
you don't
can-
wanna
we
waste
can-
postage.
I
No, we wouldn't.
assumed it was posted paid.
And
So-
I was not assuming
I
that
was
because that,
assuming it's not.
that can
Okay.
get pretty expensive.
I'm assuming it's not.
Again,
Yeah.
Okay, well, it depends on how many people we're targeting.
Yeah, you don't want to throw it in the garbage. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
Or peel
Okay.
a stamp.
Yeah, okay.
It's probably a stamp thing, but,
Okay.
but you're right. I think people the majority of the people that are going to donate utilize the library and be here one way or another.
and we can have a box.
You could even tell them to put it in the book drop.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it.
You know, think
could be,
about it.
You know,
Not that we have to not muddy up, but
complicated,
yeah,
but
get the letter to cover
When-
every.
When we do kind of fundraising on a regular routine basis too, there's something called XYZ testing, and that's where you take a group of them and you send them out under certain parameters. And then Y, you send them out under a different set of parameters. And one of them we could do postage paid envelopes. And then Y, XYZ, Y, you do non-postage paid, and maybe Z, you change the letter. And then you measure your return on each set. So if we wanted to, we could do half with postage paid and half not, and see if that makes a difference.
Well, I didn't know how wide of a net you wanted to cast, because I thought it would be just the cost of doing business, and that really does encourage people to utilize the letter. It depends on who you're targeting. If we were targeting all of the prior board members of the library, I would think that they would all use the letter, you know what I'm saying? But if it's just a self-addressed envelope, that's fine for this particular
I think for
effort.
this purpose, probably.
Okay.
Well,
so
everybody else?
I get the letter. So what am I gonna send back other than a check? Do we put a coupon on it saying, yes, I'd like to contribute, here's my amount?
I could
Here's
do
my name.
something. I could
Yeah.
do something like this.
Otherwise,
what's in the center here?
right, otherwise you're gonna be, if they only send a check, you're gonna be writing their names for further
Sure.
recognition.
Right. We could have something that looks very much like what's in the center
Right.
of the page.
Yeah.
And with a name.
You name the project,
Yeah.
like what it's for.
Right.
Yeah,
And their name.
Would you,
right.
what do you think about this? What do you think about making the donating part at the bottom of the page and moving everything else up a little?
That way it's easier.
You have to have
to
these
type.
pictures, though.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Very
I think
important.
she's saying put it
Okay.
up higher.
No,
I'm
I
saying-
understand, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying move the part, make it almost look like a detachable.
Oh, like with a little dot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But you want it to be 8.5 by 11 to fit into a number
Sure.
10, right?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the same information.
Okay.
I'm pulling
Just
this down there, then
adjust
moving
it
everything
with a
else.
dot.
Got it.
I can do that.
Next, maybe where you put the self-addressed envelope is on that coupon. Please return in the self-addressed envelope.
But I think
Or the
Elizabeth
library.
is saying that this would be the coupon with a dotted
Yeah,
line.
but I'm saying, but you could put that sentence on the coupon. Return the coupon in the self-addressed envelope.
Yes,
Return
yes,
the
yes.
donation
Got it.
slip in the self-addressed envelope, or at the library, at your next visit.
Okay. Any other edits on the letter? I think we've
I think it's
gotten
good.
through that.
Yep.
That was a great draft.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I really, and we made it stronger, but it was a
Yeah,
great draft.
yeah.
Okay, item number 5 is gonna take a lot of brainstorming, and it has to do with targeting organization or people for our fundraising effort. And I took a first blush at putting together a targeting list, understanding that it's more the concept here and whether or not we want to use some of these ideas going forward. I went over to the Park District offices, and I'm looking at those that are in yellow here. The Park District, as you walk into their main office, they have what they call a donor tree. It's got, a tree, and then every little leaf is out of a different material, stainless steel, brass, or copper. And the stainless, if you got your name on a stainless steel leaf, you gave a certain amount. If you got your name on a brass leaf, you gave more. If you got your name on a copper leaf, you gave even more than the other two. So it doesn't assign an exact value, but you kind of figure there's a, A, B, C category. And I listed each type of, or each person's name, et cetera, and then I kind of went through over on the right, and I thought, okay, do I know if some people know these groups? So I kind of took a stab at who might be assigned. And then the second group, I went over, and there is by the Discovery Park, there's a rock. And that rock has on it a plaque that talks about who gave money. And it's divided up into groundbreakers, pioneers, explorers, and pathfinders. And you can see under each group that they got some substantial size donors. So I'll just let you take a look at that. And when you're fundraising, the jewel of it is who are your donors. So to be able to at least get an insight into who some of the donors are for these
So
other
what was
organizations.
the minimum amount that you got your name on the tree?
I would have no way of knowing that.
Okay.
Unless, I would be surprised if anybody would tell us that.
So you didn't see my name on there? Obviously not.
No, because I took a picture of every single thing. And I'm not sure if that's directly to the Park District or is that to Lisle Partners for Parks.
I don't remember who I wrote the check to. I was donating my salary as village clerk to different organizations, and this was one of them that I donated my salary to, my stipend that I got.
While I was taking pictures, several people came out and put their face up at the glass to watch me take pictures.
Okay.
So I don't think they were very excited about the fact that I was, because this isn't a vestibule. I don't think they were happy that I was taking pictures, not knowing who I was or why I was interested,
So you want me, I can make a couple comments on this. Hannah Allpeter is Tim.
Before we get into
Okay.
that, I want to go through it, and I want us to decide as a group who we want to target, okay? And then the last one had to do with the turkey trap and some people who just donate to Lisle organizations in general. So those are the folks that are in white. So I guess what we should do, and of course, Tatiana gave us some ideas such as past library trustees, current library trustees, same thing with village, same thing with Park District, current and past, and that's how we get through this. So, do we want to start talking about our strategy, kind of who we want to go after?
I think we should talk in general terms.
Yeah.
Because I like involving past library trustees, because that makes sense. Library thing.
I think for purposes of this committee though, we shouldn't be naming names on here, personal names. A resident's name.
Oh, okay.
I think we should just comment on whether the content is okay, but not, we don't want anyone to be mentioned and then have a problem with that.
And I think, so the group, past library trustees would be one for each target.
Well, if my name were on here, Marjorie Bartelli, and we were speaking here and saying, well, I know Marjorie Bartelli, I can approach her. I may not want my name out there that I'm a target for fundraising.
Right, I think what we're doing here is the more general strategic
Okay,
level.
that's fine.
So, I think what we do is we kind of should agree on different groups we might wanna target,
Okay.
and then maybe prioritize them. So,
So the idea is they will get the initial letter. And are we doing the follow-up on the letter or what? I mean, if you can't send them a letter, what's your idea? Are we gonna approach them about prior to the letter coming out?
my idea was that there would be somebody following up on every letter. So it's interesting because I think one mistake people make is they send out 1,000 letters all at once. And I don't think it's realistic to have, 3 or 4 people following up at 1,000 letters all at once. So I think after we go after what kind of groups we want to target, we're gonna have to prioritize them and say, no, wait a minute, we can't do all of these all at once.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just looking through here, there's, and I don't know if this is going off, but I see 2 that have like just generally donated that I know for this specific Light Bright thing, I know that they would be way on board with contributing to this specific thing due to the services they provide. So I was just looking at this, I'm sorry if I sidetracked on that one.
No, that's exactly.
And I think we can talk about organizations. I think what we don't wanna talk about is individual names.
Individuals, yeah.
You know. So if we say Kiwanis, does that make sense?
Oh,
That we
yeah.
send letters to the Kiwanis, and maybe it's to all the board members on Kiwanis.
Mhm.
Maybe it's to all the board members on the village. I mean, it's up
Yeah.
to this committee to discuss where, but we don't have to individually name like certain families that are here. I think this is just Trustee Sullivan's kind of research, and it gives us ideas. And not to say that we wouldn't send it to individuals on here, but I think we can talk about those names offline, not here. To Trustee Turner's question regarding the follow-up, I think that's something that should be discussed. Are we sending letters out first to see how they play? And, who knows, we might receive returns. So there wouldn't need to be follow-up. But how long do you wait? So we send out letters after, so we'll get possibly approval on Wednesday. We would send out letters by the end of this week. We give it, 2 weeks? And then follow-up? Or how do you want to handle it?
Well, what's interesting too is we have to work around the holiday schedule. So,
Well, should we pick a target audience that we feel most comfortable with as far as a response, a positive response? I keep thinking, I keep going back to the old engagement survey. Do we know, those were all anonymous?
Yes.
Okay, so we wouldn't know, but we have had people in the past who have written or emailed you, and I don't know that it's appropriate that you would use that information for something like this, but they were pro renovation. I mean, that would be a great audience to start with. And we've all personally gotten a few emails over the course of this whole effort that indicated.
Well, I think we will be advertising this widely outside of the letter.
Okay.
We would do a social media post, we do an e-blast, and that would hit people who engage with the library on a regular basis. I think this is a conversation about who we send letters to, and emails. If you have any contacts, you can send them my way, and I could send them a letter on behalf of the library. I mean, your
Right,
name and my
right.
name will be on it.
When's our next newsletter go out? I mean, this is something we would,
Mm-hmm. It would be the February-March
February,
newsletter.
okay.
Yeah. And again, we would just start construction at the beginning of March. We're just starting construction at the beginning of March, so we have a whole year to fundraise on this.
right.
I mean, not a full year, but
Mm-hmm.
a good amount.
This is kind of like the chicken or the egg discussion. You know, there's so many pieces we need to nail down, and I know, Sarah, you had mentioned that there's some organizations or people that you're thinking, because of what they do, they would be more attuned to donating. So I'm thinking we go after, you know, I hate to call people low-hanging fruit, but we go after the low-hanging fruit first.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you have some knowledge of certain
Yeah.
groups.
I
that-
mean, just C-SPAR, Your Story Counseling. I actually go see them, but they deal with kids who are on the spectrum, who have ADD, ADHD, whatever, and they are always having discussions on tools for the kids to use wherever they're at. And I mean, I just know they would be, I think, really excited to be a part of this because they're right downtown and they're close by, and Giant Steps, because they deal with the autism community, and I think any type of, I mean, because the kids are more included in the library, this includes them more. So it's all about getting that out into the community and really opening it up for them to come in and enjoy the space more. So I feel like those three would be, I think, pretty good. I think they would be more than willing.
So if I were to, I'm trying to put together a list here of targeted audiences. What would we call them?
I know. I know, it's hard to, even I'm like, what words to use to encompass.
Special interest groups, maybe?
A-list, B-list, C-list. And this has got to be a pretty live document that as you get money in, it's going to be added so that we all know not to talk to the Sullivan family because they've already contributed, you know. So.
Right, and that's why I was saying giving kind of a period of time and then maybe a deadline to then do some follow-ups. And administration would take care of this. We would keep track of checks received and monies received and all of that kind of thing. But I think right now trying to find out who we target and talking about, so does the committee feel that past trustees make sense for us? If that's true, do we bleed over into other organizational trustee groups like park district trustees, village trustees, school district trustees? Do we want to do that?
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Absolutely.
I think yes.
Great.
Those should be the A-listers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then organizations like Kiwanis and C-SPAR and Giant Steps,
Right.
we can target those organizations, but we need more. And in the email that goes out to the whole board today, I will mention that these are the targeted groups. What I will recommend is, because all of you have such ties, personal ties in Lisle, and again, Trustee Sullivan's list of, there's some personal names on here. Maybe if you all send me a list of whom you think would be an active donor, like just send me a list, and if you have their address, send it to me. I can find it. I'm a librarian. I can get that. But send me a list of your personal contacts who you think might donate outside of these groups we've mentioned today, and we can go that route. And again, this is not a list we're finishing today. You know, we can. You know, after we send out, let's say 100 cards, you might come across somebody that's like, Tatiana, send this letter to this person. I think this person would donate. We could do that a month from now, 2 months from now. We don't have to generate a complete list today.
The one thing I would ask is that you don't use even electronic signatures.
No.
That you can't sign.
Yeah.
I realize it's more work.
No, yeah, that's
That's not a problem.
Is there anyone else that this list gives you ideas about in terms of organizations or groups?
It seems to me that, I have seen banks giving a lot of money. So I would have a category of banks.
Lisle Bank.
Businesses, okay.
There's an awful lot of,
How many banks we have in Lisle? We have one of them. We have Lisle Bank and Savings, but the one of,
there's at least 12. I was
in
trying
Lisle?
to, yeah, not the headquarters.
Yeah,
There's at
just
least 12 different bank, what would you call,
the
branches.
branches, yeah.
I was driving around in town one day. I mean, everybody seems to have a branch either on the border of Naperville and Lisle or in Lisle. So, I mean, that's its own segment.
Any other businesses that maybe child focused in Lisle, around Lisle?
I
I'm just
know,
throwing them out there.
I would put Boeing on there, because having worked at Boeing, I know that they have 2 different foundations. Some of their, one foundation only funded educational issues in Washington. But their Chicago foundation was one that was set up for employees to be a part of the board, and you would submit the grant, and then you would, I got a grant for somebody. Because one of the people who worked for me was on the board, but it's just for a general board. It's an employee-run foundation. And so I would target Boeing. I can probably do some research as to how to address it. But it's employees that make the decisions, and they're from all over the city. So they don't have to be in line.
I would include Molex. I would
yeah.
include Tel Labs.
Nevistar?
Oh, definitely Navistar. I would include, some of these companies too have matching programs where if their employees give, the company will donate dollar for dollar. And I know Tel Labs has a matching, or they used to have a matching, so.
Any other organizations? I mean, obviously Friends Foundation, Women's Club, we're gonna ask, I'm guessing, correct?
Oh, yeah, Women's Club letter, if that could be the first one you do, I think the probability is probably pretty high.
Okay.
I think SASED, S-A-S-E-D, yeah, they, just because of, they deal with children and
Okay.
So I think we're all gonna, each of us here are gonna leave with a to-do to send your ideas that we don't talk about here to Tatiana.
And then I will share them from my
And
portal
do you have
to you.
Do you have a chamber, a listing of the chamber members? You probably have a chamber,
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
Chamber list.
Lisle Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce list. And anybody who joins, I mean, they're generally businesses, most of them are businesses in Lisle, some are in Naperville and down.
We are members,
Yeah.
the library.
And the Women's Club is a member. So I don't know who got the chamber catalog directory. Probably would have come to Pat Briggs. She probably has it. But it's got every member and their address and their phone number listed in there.
Okay, what I'm thinking is, with all these different ideas of groups that we want to target, companies we want to target, organizations we want to target, I think we're going to have more ideas to target than we're going to have the ability to follow up with all of them. Do you guys have a sense that that's going to happen?
Yes. But whoever we get responses from, then they'll come off the list. So we can look at the list at some point in time and say who's outstanding. Then we can go through definitely, maybe, not so much, no way. We kind of go through our personal knowledge as to whether we ever get money from them or not.
Right. And Tatiana, maybe you and I can chat, and if we want to store this like on a Google Drive or something, where, I don't mean the donation part, I mean who's assigned to go after which company, and that way each person can see who's doing what, and then if some corporation has said, no, we don't do things like that, that person can actually put a note that they don't do it, and if then everybody can see where we are. And I don't mind putting that up in a Google Drive if I don't know if our Outlook allows anything like that.
It does. It's called OneDrive, and I think we have to do it through the library's portal, not through Google, because we use Microsoft. And if it's if we ever have a records request, I have to be able to
Cool.
grab it. So does Beth. She's a FOIA officer as well as I am. So we have to go through the library's kind of portal this way. But we'll find something, and we can do something like that.
If we could do, would that be okay with you guys?
Sure.
To kind of like use it, and that way, we're not, saying that we have to meet extra times. It's like we'll always know where we are.
I have to mention again the time frame. So, we don't want to barrage a company with, or a person with a call if having a time frame of, we send the letters out and then we're going to wait a couple of weeks. So we need to determine what that is before we make calls. And we can do that another meeting, or we can do that today. I can have letters ready to go by the end of this week possibly, or even, beginning of next week. We'd like to get them out as soon as possible, but having an idea of how long we wait is a good thing.
And are these donations tax deductible?
I think that's up to,
I mean, if you, it's a plus if it is.
we're not a 501c3, but we put it to the person donating to
Whether they,
get advice from their tax advisor on
Okay.
that.
well, don't you have to, you don't provide a service, correct? Or what's the law read about when I get something from a humane society, it says that no goods or
Yeah, you have not received anything.
we have
from
not
that
received, there's a statement that they give you that. So it was just of my free will and I got nothing in exchange other than the fact that I was. So I'm just a question,
Yeah.
in case somebody asks.
We're not providing that. And I guess what the thing to say is, that you need to go back to your own tax advisor.
I wonder if, I'm sorry to interrupt, Liz.
That you need to go back, you would tell the other person, you need to go back to your own tax advisor, to get advice on that.
If you happen to be talking to Roger about something else, no, I don't want to, spend $100 to ask that question. But if it's a, he would probably know off the top of his head if you're talking to him about something else. Slip it in there. But just an idea.
Yeah, no, I can look into it a little bit and see what I can come up with on my own before calling him. Regarding a disclaimer like that, we could probably put it on that coupon.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to go that far.
Yeah,
You
you just want to stay away from it.
Yeah,
maybe
stay
open
away
a
from
can of
it.
worms
It's
if you
just
say,
for my own benefit, that's
Go
all.
to your
Okay.
tax
And if-
advisor.
We don't want to do that, that's fine.
See,
I
I
get
think
it.
the tax laws have changed over the last 2 years. It's not gonna help most people. And-
You're right. It has to be a
So-
huge, yep.
That's why I would just.
Okay, let's,
Okay.
My thought is, if we mail these out, and let's just say we mail them on or around the 20th.
Okay.
which is a week from today. And of course, all these dates are just ballparks, could slip. I would say we make our first follow-up call. This is a bad week though, because a lot of people take the week between Christmas and New Year's off.
Could be the week of the 10th.
I was just gonna say like the 12th or something. Just have that
Mid-month.
yeah.
Yeah, because some of these organizations might have to go to a board themselves and say, is this something we're gonna do? So
That's
you've gotta wait for
good
them to
point.
meet to be able to give an amount.
That's a good point.
So. So if we do the letters, let's say the week of December 20th. The first follow-up call. Let's say it happens the week of January 3.
I think that's
That's-
too
it's
soon.
pretty
Too
quick.
early.
That's too soon.
Well, the problem is people lose physical mail pieces because there's a trade-off between losing the piece, putting it somewhere like it's not as important. So part of it is not you're gonna get an answer, part of it is you're gonna remind them that they got the piece of mail, and a lot of them are gonna say, I don't remember ever seeing that. And so you're gonna need this document to be an email form too, so you can zip them off an email copy.
If you mail them the week of the 20th, to me, you're getting barraged with Christmas cards. And when I open a stack of cards, they all go over here. Because you don't, especially if there's a newsletter in there, you don't sit and read.
Right.
So you could get lost in your, especially if you have a large family.
I don't,
Maybe.
yeah. We've got a long time to raise these funds. It's
Right.
like we have to have the
Right.
money by the 1st of February. So pushing it off a bit to alleviate this whole issue of losing it during the Christmas mailings and things of that sort. I don't think we're,
Then I wouldn't even mail them until January.
Well, we kind of
That's the
touched
thing.
on that with my question about, is this the right time?
right.
And we agreed, yes, it was, because people are giving towards the end of the year. So you're kind of,
Well, see, but
we have two different,
if you budget that you need to spend by the end of the year,
The few that haven't spent their budget, you hit those.
yeah.
Otherwise, like Wow Women's Club has already gone through the budgeting process and they know who they're gonna give money to. We'll have to squeeze in here and hopefully they'll have some room for us, but
I think it makes sense to send it during Christmas time. A lot of organizations do that. And, it doesn't, and depending on who sends us funds or responds in any way, we can follow up. We can send another letter, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, another quarter, and see if they get a nibble in the springtime.
and it can be renovations has started in the library, exciting times, we're looking to finish off this special project.
Yeah, depending on
targeted.
how our levels
Yeah.
go up in terms of the money. So I guess because the holiday's in the way right now, so if the letters go out the week of the 20th for January, we could do a follow-up either the week, as Chairman Sullivan's saying, the week of the 3rd or the week of the 10th, which I think kind of a 3-week follow-up, or do you want a month follow-up?
I would do the latter, the 10th. That's my opinion.
Well, if you're calling a corporation, you probably won't get somebody for the first 3 or 4 calls, and they probably won't call you back any of those times. So, I don't know. I guess my preference would be to start those calls the week of the 3rd, but, you know, maybe we schedule our next AOC meeting before the next board meeting sometime and say that people should have follow-up calls made by our next AOC meeting, and that gives people the flexibility to make them in between now and then.
So our next board meeting is the 19th. Board meeting.
Does the library work on the 17th, which is Martin Luther
Yes.
Day? Martin Luther Day?
Yes.
Well, what do you guys think about that approach? We could have our next AOC meeting on January the 17th. And that would give people the opportunity to make calls the week of the 3rd or the week of the 10th. And then report back how it's going on Monday the 17th. So it gives us more opportunity, and maybe we'll find out that something is particularly successful versus a different approach. And maybe we're thinking, you know, it's okay to follow up on 5 or, you know, 10, you know, what is a reasonable number too?
Well, I mean, I think it's good to say we've got 2 or 3 weeks between letters going out and follow-up. And a lot will be learned during that time. I will be communicating with you in terms of what has been received, if anything. If we have that one note option of sharing kind of a spreadsheet live, that will also inform you. Or I just email you and say, here's where we're at in terms of checks, things like that. So a lot will be learned in the first kind of get-go, in that first month of sending out letters.
So mail is December 20th and call is January 10th? Did we decide on that or not? And then an AOC on the 17th.
I think, is everybody good, AOC on the 17th at 2 p.m. or do you need to check calendars?
I have to check the school calendar because honestly, I can't remember if Lisle is in school or not because of my kids.
They might not be.
They might not be in school
Do you think they're in school?
because I can't
Martin
even
Luther King
remember. That's why I would just have to check the school calendar, just to see if they would be.
It's a state holiday, right? Not a federal holiday?
It's federal.
No,
I think,
there's a-
yeah, I think they might be close.
Yeah, that would.
If they are in school, it means you cannot make this.
If they're in school, I can make it. If they're out of school, I
She has to be
can't.
home.
Okay, should we, how does the 18th look? Maybe we should just do it for that Tuesday. Does everybody?
It's fine for me. I'm in the same boat with you, and I don't know if I'm babysitting.
Just so you know that nothing can go in the packet if we do it on the 18th. I mean, I don't anticipate anything having to go in the packet, but
It would just have to be a verbal update.
yeah, a verbal like relay of what happened,
Okay.
which I think is fine. I'm just letting you know that it can't go in the
No,
packet.
that's good to know.
Yeah, I think the 18th should be fine.
So the 18th would be good for
At
you
2 o'clock.
What, AOC on the 18th?
Yeah, that would be the Tuesday, because then we're avoiding the whole Martin Luther King
I
issue.
can't do it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't have the meeting, but
Well,
I'm looking at the school calendar on Google.
Okay, yeah, I was just trying to like. flip it.
And now unless they just don't do those They're showing the midwinter break, spring break, and last school day.
Okay.
Gotta get the other ones. It's gotta be on here somewhere.
I know, sometimes it's the hard, you have to dig so deep on their district calendar,
Let's
I'm like,
see.
In the meantime, how does Friday afternoon look for everybody? That's
Which,
your packet day though, isn't
which
it?
Friday?
The 14th,
Yeah, that's packet day.
that's packet.
No school, Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't think so. If you wanted to have a report for the board meeting on the 19th, we could have a meeting on the 19th in the day. It would have to be like probably at 3:00, but that would mean you coming to the library twice on the same day. I mean, we'll have all the equipment set up because we'll be here, but if you really wanted to have something before the board meeting, so you have something to report, you could do that.
I could do it 3:30. How does 3:30 look for everybody?
And which day?
Yeah.
The same day as the board meeting.
The 19th.
It would just, you'd be coming here twice.
The reason we're meeting, so we're sending out the letters on the 20th and we're calling on the what date?
We're calling sometime the week of the 3rd and the week of the 10th. And we wanted to meet and exchange results with each other so that we'd have a better report for the board meeting.
Okay, so nobody likes Fridays, but what about the 14th for an AOC?
It's the board packet day.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm okay the same day as the board meeting, but the staff is the one. You guys got a long day that day.
I don't think Sarah can make it either.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I just feel bad because I have nobody for my kids.
No,
Go
hey.
We could do the 13th. What about the 13th?
What's
January 13th is a Thursday.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yep,
Works for me.
I have to check my calendar at home.
Okay.
Should be fine.
Is the 2 o'clock slot for 1 o'clock? What's better for everybody usually?
1 or 2 is fine with me.
Do you have a preference?
no,
Okay. How about you?
We're here. So, what hour works best? Does one work
1
better
for
for
me.
you? 1
1.
o'clock
Okay. We'll do 1 o'clock.
on the 13th.
And we'll hope that it works for Lorna.
So,
So the whole purpose in scheduling that is so that we can now back into, the follow-up phone calls will happen the week of January 3rd and January 10th. And we'll get together on the 13th to kind of report back to each other how we're doing and what we've learned and what has worked.
so, step back a bit. So you're gonna take a swipe at the chamber directory, because I'm sitting here, I'm jotting down names here. You don't have Still equipment on here. You don't have Alexander equipment on here. I mean, I'm just thinking of things that companies that are on Ogden Avenue, and there probably are in the chamber. So, and you're gonna need names, right? You're not gonna want to send Potbelly Sandwich Works a letter. You like to go John Doe at Potbelly Sandwich Works. That's going to get their attention a lot more than just sending a letter to Potbelly Sandwich Works.
I mean, that's gonna involve some research on
Yeah, I
staff's
think that's
part.
going to take some time too to pull together.
It depends on, again, our target list. Are we intending to send out 1,000 letters? Are we intending to be a little bit more targeted in terms of having like a kid-specific for the first round of letters? Because
I
we
would
can
prefer
always,
to do it in waves. And
yeah.
get the A-listers, do the A-listers first, and then go down to and then we'll see what the response is, and then we start the next swipe and do the B-listers if we don't have enough money.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. I think that the organizations we've named today, and then hopefully emails that come from you on personal acquaintances, that will also be quote unquote lists. We can start with that, and then I can compile a spreadsheet or do the kind of live action Excel sheet to share what we have and go from there. We can build it. And
Do these necessarily have to be corporations or can they be personal contacts?
that's what I'm talking about, is if you could send me a list of your
Well,
personal contacts
Okay,
to
'cause
add to this.
I prefer to do that
Yes.
initially
Yes,
for myself.
that's fine.
I'm more comfortable with that.
Well, and I can come in and meet with you. If
Absolutely.
you need somebody just to scribe and type into whatever this, I'll call it an Excel sheet, you know, whatever you decide the right platform is, and maybe you've got like all these different things, I can do some of that work too.
Yeah, and we can talk on this offline too. I mean, just
Okay.
strategies and waves and A, B, C lists and things like that.
Okay, so we'll send all of those different ideas and lists, and you know, you might have some Lorna, Sarah, you might have some people that you know at these various organizations. I know you have some folks that you want to add, and we'll go from there. And
So-
I don't mind calling corporations that are headquartered here and finding out, you know, who would be those target
Okay.
people.
Your Pat Quitzel, is this person deceased? No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's,
I'm sorry,
he's
I missed
Kathy
that.
Quitzel's
Okay.
brother. Lives
Oh,
next
I
door
thought-
to her.
We're being recorded, and so we should be careful with
Okay,
names.
sorry.
Yeah. So yes, we'll work on this offline. The list, I will share it with everybody, and I think we've got a great jump start on where we're going with the letter.
Okay, so, we went through item 5, and then item 6 is our video project. And I know, Tatiana, you worked with your folks to kind of create a couple different video scenarios. Did you wanna
Yeah.
talk about those?
This is just to share with the committee on how it might look. This was Joy working on some scripts, very, very basic language that would go back and forth between me and a trustee. So everything in black would be where a trustee is involved. So in the very first video, it would be kind of talking about the purpose of the renovation and then having a trustee work with me on that purpose. Then we envision having then the second video being one about youth services, and if you flip the page, the third video would again involve a trustee talking about our entrances and parking around the library and how that's going to be more convenient for patrons. Then the next video would be about adult services and all of the fun and useful renovation adds to adult services. The fifth one would be about circulation in the lobby. And then the sixth video, and we're just ballparking it here, but sixth video, again, me and a trustee talking about the outdoor space and how that would benefit the library. So just wanted to share what a video might be comprised of. And if any trustees here, I know Sarah would said she would participate in one of these. Is there any one of the ones in black that you would like to be most a part of?
I mean, I like the purpose in the outdoor space.
Okay.
I
And Lorna, I don't know if I can't remember if you said
Yeah,
you
I
would like to.
volunteered.
Okay. And this is just the first 6. So for the trustees, it would be purpose, and Sarah said she'd like to be in that one. We've got one on the entrances, the dual entrances and parking and accessibility,
You can put me down for that one.
or outdoor space. Okay,
Yeah.
Will be entrances. And then, who do you want me to target for outdoor space? I know Emily and Jenny said they also wanted to do this. Can we get both? I can do
I
both.
was gonna say, what if
Let
you
them
did
flip a
both for
coin.
them? I think they liked the outdoor space.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll hit them both up for.
Yeah.
So anyway, these were just some ideas. Again, very short and sweet, but hitting on the key words of the renovation is functionality, accessibility, and efficiencies around the building. And that's it. I just wanted to share with you what those will look like. Trying to target next week for shooting.
Wow.
So giving you a heads up. You will be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first in the first. Okay. Great.
Cool.
These are great.
Good.
Really
I like
good.
it, yeah.
Maybe Santa could make an appearance.
Okay, is there anything else that, does anybody think of anything else that they wanted to, that we went over too fast? Or thinking of something that they had to add that you might have breezed by? No? Okay.
If not, just to wrap this up, I will work on the letter and retool it to our edits. I will create the coupon in the letter. I will send it to the board today with the statement. The statement is the only thing that will go in the packet for the public. Thank you. And kind of brief the board on the letter and the statement and tell them that it's in the public packet. Okay?
Great.
Okay.
So then the last item on the agenda is to adjourn, and may I have a motion and a second?
I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Okay, may I have a roll call, please?
Lorna Turner,
Aye.
Sarah Wynn,
Aye.
Marjorie Botelli,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye. So at 3:21, we are adjourned.